The fight against insecurity is said to be a collective responsibility, and to achieve that, the Nigeria Police, in collaboration with Aguda Local Council Development, is taking the awareness to the grassroots. Inolua reports.
The unabated incidents and unrelenting activities of secret cults in educational institutions has brought Nigerians to their knees in fear. Many young persons have gone to their early grave as a result of this, but these stakeholders, in nipping it in the bud, issued a discourse among relevant stakeholders on how to tackle it. One could adduce many reasons for this threat, ranging from power, money to peer pressure, but these stakeholders have attributed it to lack of proper parental upbringing.
If you're a father, talk to them like a friend. Give them sense of belonging. Ask them questions. Tell them to ask you a question. Don't allow them to be very far from you. By the time you are giving all them, they will have their mind to express what they are feeling.
We all have intertwined roles. Parents come to schools, teachers relate with parents, students relate to the teachers, and at the same time with the parents. So whatever they learn at home and they take to school, even if the school tries to correct it, and you see parents resist, and that was why you see that I emphasized a bit on the role of the parents. The role of the parents is to be more caring.
Cultism undeniably sets the hand of development clock in Nigeria backwards. But this stakeholder insists firmly that parents, among others, should be at the forefront of this change.
We have so many opportunities in these countries. In Nigeria, you can achieve anything. All you need to do is to be focused and make sure you do the right thing at the right time. Follow the instruction of your parents, follow the instruction of your teachers, and follow the instruction of our religious leaders.
Children are also advised to have a close-knit relationship with their parents.
We should not follow strangers. We should not have too much love for material things and money. They can lead us to bad things.
Cultism is bad, that it can lead to death. It can lead to damage.
In spite of this problem, these experts have noted that the family at primary level and the government at secondary level are equipped with the responsibility to instill positive values in children to ensure a safe and sustainable society. Inolua TVC News, Lagos.
In Abuja, where Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court has struck out 8 of the 15-count charge brought by the federal government against the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. In a ruling on the validity of the charge, Justice Binta held that in the instant preliminary objection application, counts 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 14 have not disclosed any offense by the defendant, while count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 15 show some allegations. Celestina Area reports.
Justice Binta Nyako ruled on the validity of the charges brought against Nnamdi Kanu, striking out some, while pointing out that the other charges have weighty allegations. She noted that the trial of the defendant shall proceed on these charges not struck out. She also held that rendition for the purpose of a criminal investigation is allowed. In the instant case, there is a bench warrant on the defendant, and this makes him a fugitive before the court. The court also stated on the issue of proscription of IPOB, the case is still on appeal and the order proscribing the organization is still subsisting until it is vacated. Counsel to Mr. Kanu moved an application for his bail, submitting that until a person is tried and convicted, he should be allowed to walk free. On his part, counsel to the federal government, Magaji Labaran, urged the court to refuse the application, adding that Mr. Kanu had allegedly violated the earlier bail granted him. He urged the judge to be guided by her discretion vis-a-vis the circumstances of the case, and in the alternative, should order accelerated hearing on the matter so that the defendant can know his fate one way or the other.
Today, after the counts were quashed, we then proceeded to move our bail application. The defendant, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, deserves to be granted bail. The case of the prosecution has always been, and this is sheer falsehood, that Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail, and that was why he was forcibly renditioned back to Nigeria.
The court, in its wisdom, now reviewed all the charges and discovered that, with the exception of 7 counts, about 8 counts appear to be similar, and those charges were struck out.
The court adjourned till 18th May for ruling on the bail application of Mr. Kanu. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.
Away from that, in Kaduna, at least 141 Nigerian Air Force troops have been trained on how to effectively protect critical national assets, including military bases. And after their training, they will be deployed to carry out their tasks in various locations across the country. The training became necessary after a couple of critical national assets were invaded by terrorists within the past month. ASOM reports.
From the protection of critical national assets to properly guarding military bases and also providing effective response to terrorist attacks. These are parts of the skills over 140 troops have acquired after months of training at the Regiment Training Center in Kaduna. The aim is to better position the force to effectively address emerging security threats bedeviling the nation. In a simulation exercise, the troops display their skills to drill their superiors. With the asymmetry nature of the threats by terrorists, the Air Force bosses believe there's no better time to scale up military trainings, intelligence operations, and emergency response systems.
Critical Assets Protection Squad course was structured to meet the ever-changing complexities of military operations in irregular, asymmetric warfare scenarios. This is because in an environment where the nature of the threat is becoming increasingly complex and encompasses the entire spectrum of warfare, highly trained and motivated forces that are equipped with the appropriate weapons and requisite operational equipment becomes very critical.
The Chief of the Air Staff, who was represented by the Air Force Chief of Policy and Planning, charged the troops to discharge their tasks with a high level of professionalism.
I implore you to remain resilient and focused as you strive to fully develop your potentials in the areas you are gifted. Nigerian Air Force expects you to always be at your professional best for effective and efficient performance in the course of your career.
And troops who were outstanding in the course of the training received awards. The Air Force assures that more troops will be given further training within and outside the country, and hopes are high that with such developments, an end will be put to the destruction of national assets across the country. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
Rivers State, some students have joined the call for a stop to violent attacks in the country. Speaking in Port Harcourt on the deadly Kaduna-Abuja train attack, the group lamented how terrorists freely carry out attacks on Nigerians on a daily basis. Senior reporter Uche Okoro has details.
And I remember my comrades, but I run away that I took.
Some past and present student leaders in Rivers State are lending their voices to the wave of insecurity sweeping across all geopolitical zones of the country. According to them, they have watched with dismay as hundreds of innocent Nigerians are either killed or abducted by criminal gangs. They are demanding justice for the young and promising Dr. CHINELO NWANDO and others who died in the Kaduna-Abuja train incident last month.
We have observed a minute silence for the 8 persons confirmed dead as a result of the attack on these innocent Nigerians. Foremost is our dear Dr. CHINELO NWANDO, who was a University of Port Harcourt trained dental surgeon. We have also offered prayers for the over 168 persons declared missing by the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
With the railway attack still fresh in the minds of many Nigerians, They questioned the timing of a political rally organized by the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress in Port Harcourt.
It would have been noble that the minister display statesmanship in similitude of his fellow party man, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who called off his annual birthday celebration in honor of all those who suffered the attack.
But the APC in Rivers State insists that one of the objectives of the event is to seek divine intervention in the country's security situation.
You know, when you prepare for something, you've already made commitment and all that, and this thing happened, we say, look, first we're going to pray for the nation Nigeria, and pray for those souls that has passed, those souls that have been kidnapped. And we thank God for the successful congresses and convention we had in our city. You know where we're coming from and where we are right now.
For the party, everyone must work together to make the nation safe, as the problem of insecurity cannot be blamed on any particular individual. The party also denies that the federal government is more concerned about the coming election than the security of lives and property. And so, despite the controversies, the party insists that the program will hold as scheduled. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
The security situation in Niger State took a different turn as 3 persons, including a village head, were killed following an attack by gunmen in several communities in Muya local government area. Chairman of the local government, Garba Mohammed, confirmed the attack on Friday. He said the community head of Natna village in Sarkin Power, headquarters of Muya, was among the victims when nearly 7 villages were attacked. According to Mr. Mohammed, the attack started around 2 a.m. from a village called Sohun Kabula before moving to Guinea, Fuka, Gupa and Lapa, a village which shares a boundary with Shiroro local government area. The local government area chairman said he had requested the intervention of the army to tackle the situation, but the officers arrived at about 8 a.m. Speaking of the attacks, Dantala Noma, a politician in Muya local government, said the gunmen moved freely for over 7 hours in different villages, which led to the abduction of many residents. The state police command is yet to comment on the situation. Let's turn to the oil sector now. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company has called for a special court to prosecute oil thieves. Its chief executive, Mele Kyari, made the call at an investigative hearing into illegal crude refining and oil theft in the country. Jakadisa reports.
Reports say between January 2021 and February 2022, Nigeria lost about $3.2 billion to crude oil theft.
MPC Limited is designed to increase value to
The House of Representatives is probing the nation's dwindling oil resources. The management team of NNPC is before the Joint Committee mandated to carry out the probe. The Chief Executive Officer of the corporation is armed with the pictorial presentation of the activities of illegal refiners and their attendant consequences on the country. He says theft of crude oil has had a negative effect on the revenue of the federal government. Mele Kyari tells the lawmakers Nigeria currently produces less than 1.5 million barrels of crude per day.
As the COVID-19 weathered out and we started seeing return to normalcy, the production started coming down. There, the average crude oil, not including the condensate, is 1.29 million barrels per day.
Also speaks to the intervention to redress the sad situation as he assures of normalcy in the next 2 months. The lawmakers are dumbfounded as they seek explanations to troubling issues.
I'm referring to 2 motions of urgent public importance that I have moved, both in the 8th Assembly and now in the 9th Assembly. And it has to do with pipelines that have been encroached upon due to erosion.
I am tempted to say we should tell the GMD to take a bow and go. Why? Because from what we have seen here, he's told us the effort they are making to restore production. And he says within 2 months, there will be tremendous progress.
We're not here to make political statements. We are here looking for solutions. And we have to talk to ourselves in a way that we can genuinely and sincerely talk to ourselves. The way he spoke, I didn't even expect him to do same. But the time has come. I think Nigeria is reaching a very good time frame of moving forward.
The meeting later dovetailed into a closed door as journalists were excused. Jokeadsa, TVC News, Abuja.
The conduct of political actors at all levels is the sure way to determine how peaceful the society will be during and after the 2023 general elections. And that's why the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is gathering stakeholders in Delta State to seek ways to build peaceful and amicable resolution of issues to avoid electoral violence. Ikinamechi reports.
This annual Peace and Security Summit of the NSCDC in Delta State is coming just at the right time to talk about the importance of peace building ahead of activities leading to next general elections, which in previous years have been characterized by violence. Security personnel, youth corps members, traditional rulers, women and other stakeholders deliberated on ways to avoid violence in the face of disagreements.
Every individual must embrace peace. It is a must. It is not negotiable. Every political party must embrace peace in order to create and sustain an environment for peaceful living after the election, to give way for development.
We all need peace. We should all cherish peace. Any wrong done unto you, please try to repay it with what is better than what that person has done to you.
If all of us play our roles in the family, in the society, or in every leadership position we have, we'll be able to ensure that there is peace in our country.
On the worsening insecurity in the country, the guest speaker who deliberated on the theme of the summit wants a decisive action to be taken against banditry and other criminality before they escalate into a war.
It is sad to observe that the way Joseph Stalin and Putin underestimated the enemy, so has the federal government of Nigeria continued to handle insurgency with kid gloves. Today, our dear country is on the precipice. No nation has able to single-handedly win over this kind of insurgency. They must go out. Nigeria needs to go out.
There's a fact that the issue of insecurity in the nation has invisible social sponsors like poverty and unemployment.
According to INEC timetable, party primaries will start in May with other activities until the general election in February and March next year. These participants want everyone to imbibe the spirit of sportsmanship in politics and to know that there is a country to develop even after the elections. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, ASABA.
Elsewhere, government has been advised to pay attention to safety measures, especially in high-rise buildings, so as to forestall casualties in the event of an accident. The advice was given at a fire safety conference in Lagos. Theophilus Elama reports.
According to the Federal Fire Service, fire outbreak caused 136 deaths and 3 trillion naira property loss in 2021. This prompted the Lagos state government to commence the sensitization and occupational safety risk assessment of high-rises across the state as part of its ongoing 2022 Zero Accident campaign. These statistics led to industry experts coming together to chart a way forward for the safety of Lagos residents.
We now have the government agencies like physical planning and urban development. They are the one approving these buildings, they are the one approving the designs. They must ensure that even in their design, the MIE, what they call the mechanical and electrical designs, are looking to critically to ensure that the fire design they have, they are able to contain fire in case there's any issue.
Anytime anybody is doing any tall building, even 1 story, 2 story, doesn't matter, they need to have who are the people that understand safety and design? So what are we looking for? How do we prevent the fire so in case it happens?
Experts here say accidents at high-rise buildings often lead to fatalities, serious physical injuries, and loss of properties, which were avoidable if effective safety management systems were in place.
Start from regulatory control and up to the construction and responding. So when all those factors are not taken into consideration when you are putting up that type of building, and when the regulators is not actually carry out on-site assessment to identify problem before it happens, we usually have that type of accident.
So sustainable construction is very key. What is the meaning of sustainable construction? The first thing we need to know is that when you say a construction is sustainable, that means you start from the beginning, from the design, not from when you finish building a house. You now start thinking where is going to be the exit. You start from the plan they've written down.
They concluded that preparedness starts with design and enforcement of regulations. They also called on government to ensure measures are put in place and enforcement is upheld so as to forestall dangers. Theophilus Ilama, TVC News, Lagos.
In other story, the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has congratulated Juju Maestro Chief Ebenezer Obey Fabiyi on his 80th birthday. Asiwaju Tinubu commended him for promoting national unity and harmony through his songs. In a birthday congratulatory letter signed by him and released by Tinubu Media Office on Friday in Abuja, the APC leader also said Obey's music had inspired several generations in Nigeria and globally. Asiwaju Tinubu extended his best wishes and congratulations to the musician, praying to God to continue to show him his divine mercy, bless him, and give him many more years in good health and vitality. Well, we're learning now that Nigeria indeed abstained from voting in Thursday's suspension of Russia from the Human Rights Council of the UN General Assembly. A total of 93 member nations voted in favor of the suspension of the Eastern Bloc, which has continued its invasion of Ukraine for nearly 2 months now. 24 other countries, however, voted against it. Despite this, the resolution had a two-thirds majority of those voting, excluding members abstaining to vote in the 193-member assembly. Before the commencement of voting, Ukrainian ambassador urged countries to support the resolution. Besides Nigeria, 21 other African nations also abstained from the voting process, including Angola, Botswana, Cape Verde, Cameroon, and Egypt. Others are Eswatini, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Kenya, Lesotho, Madagascar, Mozambique, Namibia, Niger, Senegal, South Africa, South Sudan, Togo, and Uganda. On the other hand, the likes of Algeria, Burundi, Central African Republic, Congo, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Gabon, Mali, and Zimbabwe voted against the suspension. The meeting marked the resumption of a special emergency session on the war in Ukraine and followed reports of human rights violations committed by Russian forces. Business Tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari says professionals are the live wire of the economy and his administration will continue to engage them. The president welcomed a delegation from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria led by the President Comfortolu Eyitayo, and he commended the contribution of the institution in ensuring probity, accountability, and transparency, urging more diligence and professionalism. The ICANN president appreciated President Buhari and his administration for adhering to best accounting principles and practices to secure and revive the economy, particularly reverting to the January to December budget calendar. She says the professional body will keep supporting the nation-building efforts of the president and his administration, especially in sensitization and monetary policies and taxation.
So that I can look at it because I very much respect your competence as social stabilizers and for accounting of our resources. And I know through my experience, this is what most of us as Nigerians, we don't want to account for the responsibilities given to us. We just like to walk through life like that, which is not possible.
Since your investiture almost a year ago, ICANN, under your leadership, has sought to bring the accounting profession in Nigeria in line with the constantly evolving global environment, and by so doing, give greater recognition to accounting qualifications obtained in Nigeria. We also recognize your efforts to encourage the domestication of global policies in our local environment in a manner that coheres with our local context and adapts these policies to suit our unique socio-economic situation.
We are delighted that the current administration has remained resolute in aligning with international best practices of having a January to December budget year. We had advocated for this several years before this administration came on board. It is equally noteworthy that the Finance Act is now a regular part of our budget process to make the Appropriation Act realizable. We wish to suggest, however, that a more robust process be put in place to engage professionals across disciplines to determine budget and project implementation and to capture value for money for all government projects.
Chairman, Infrastructure Corporation of Nigeria and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, KADUNA Emefiele, says the corporation is open for business to both local and foreign investors. He made this known earlier today on the occasion of the InfraCorp term sheet signing with independent asset managers in Lagos. Blessed Amonose reports.
After months of structuring and stakeholders consultations, the Central Bank of Nigeria has finally established the operations of the $2.5 billion Infrastructure Corporation of Nigeria, InfraCorp. This development, driven by public-private partnership, has been described as a veritable platform to harness opportunities for infrastructure advancement in the country. Addressing journalists after this formal signing of term sheet by the corporation and its asset managers, namely the AAA Consortium, Chapel Hill Denham, Africa Infrastructure Investment Managers, and Salem Infraworks, the CBN Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, maintains that the project will be a catalyst for economic growth.
Let me emphasize that today is a very, very important day. We have worked now for almost 18 months trying to put this together. I am happy that we have reached a stage where today we are signing the term sheet between InfraCorp and our 4 asset managers.
For the newly appointed MD CEO of InfraCorp, the core mandate would be to tackle Nigeria's infrastructure deficit and generate a growth multiplier effect across key sectors of the economy.
Upon signing the term sheet today, we will go straight into execution mode.
The term sheet itself embodies the set of relationships and the partnership that is going to exist between InfraCorp and the asset managers. It is inclusive of the division of responsibilities. It clearly states what the rights and responsibilities of each parties will be, and it defines the operating rhythm between InfraCorp and the asset managers, as well as it defines the governance structure by which we're going to execute the mandate of Mr. President as nurtured by the promoters.
Going by the successful outcome of this meeting, expectations are high that this initiative will not only reduce the country's infrastructure gap, but will also give the country a competitive advantage under the African Free Trade Continental Agreement. Blessed Omanose, TVC News, Lagos.
And in sports, President of the Nigeria Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, has ruled himself out from vying for a third term as the Federation's president when his current tenure expires. Pressure has been mounting on Pinnick and members of his executive committee to resign from their roles following Nigeria's failure to qualify for the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup, amongst other concerns. Pinnick, who is a member of the FIFA Council, in an interview on Friday admitted his time in the glass house has taken a toll on his relationship with his family, and despite his eligibility to rerun, he will be moving on, having done his best since he assumed the office in 2014. Pinnick's second term tenure as president of the Nigeria Football Federation ends this year with an elective Congress expected to hold in September. And to the Super Falcons, the number of players in camp ahead of tonight's friendly against Olympic champions Canada is now 17, following the arrival of 4 more players. The latest arrivals are Amanda Mbadi, Peace Effie, and goalkeepers Chiamaka Nadozie and Tuchuku Olwehi. Other players in camp includes Onome Abi, Rita Chikwelu, Uchenna Kano, Rashidat Ajibade, and Leicester City defender Ashley Promptory. The Falcons are using the double-header friendly matches against Canada to prepare for the 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations in Morocco. Meanwhile, following the decision to strip out the Super Falcons captain's armband, Aziza Toshola has reacted with a veiled message aimed at a senior player of the squad whom she alleged to be desperate for the role. A statement from the team's camp stated that the captain's role was taken away from Oshola as a means of helping her regain her form, with the team having struggled for form since she assumed the role. The Super Falcons captaincy has been a matter of contention for the past 3 years, with Oshola replacing Desire Paranozie as the team's captain after the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France. Oshola will be replaced as the team captain by 38-year-old defender Onome Abi, who has played in 5 Women's World Cup tournaments for the Falcons.
Outside Nigeria, at least 39 people, including 4 children, have been killed, with almost 100 wounded in a rocket attack on a railway station in Kramatorsk in eastern Ukraine. And that's according to Ukrainian officials. Donetsk Governor Pavlo Krylenko revised an earlier estimate of 30 killed and said many of the 87 wounded were in serious condition. A Ukrainian intelligence official said 4 children were among those killed. Ukrainian officials accused Russia of the attack, saying it took place as civilians were at the station in an attempt to evacuate to safer parts of the country. Russia, however, denied any involvement.